Hello and welcome. This is Agent XP, and welcome back to another episode of Agent Adventures. So today we're going to be doing some home improvements, including making a better home for our sheep and our horse. But first I'm going to breed these sheep because I have been neglecting to do that for a while, and we're also going to collect the wool, as we could do with some wool for some ideas that I have in mind. So I've got some wheat here, let's breed these guys as well, get some cute baby lambs, and we'll be good to go. I always laugh at the baldy sheep. Sorry sheep, your wool will grow back soon. We have cute little lambs now. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to start dyeing some of these sheep. So I have some blue dye, and I'm quite curious to see what colour sheep we'll get if we breed a dark blue sheep with a white sheep. I think it may be a pale blue colour. So as you see there, I placed a carpet on the corner of the fence that allows us to hop in and out of the enclosure much more easily. Oh yes, I was right, we do get light blue sheep. Look at those cute little lambs. They're sort of it actually looks like cyan to me. Like there are several different colours, and to me that looks like cyan rather than light blue, but I have a sneaky suspicion it's light blue. Oh hello, husks. This place is quite a mob trap. I mean, that's the general idea. This is a sort of moat, sort of ditch around the garden, so zombies get stuck in here really nicely. The only thing it's not so good for is creepers, because they fall in, but if you get too near to them, they just blow up. So yeah, had a bit of fun with that. So I'm also doing a bit of exploring here. I'm going back to the plains where I found the horse, and the other side we can see some more desert here. Now I have a mission. I want to collect some more sandstone, and this big mountain might be a good place to mine out a sort of cave, and there we can collect a bunch of sandstone. And it's kind of better to mine this stuff than get sand, in my opinion, because you have to get a lot of sand to make this stuff. So it's better to just mine it fresh if you have the opportunity to, in my opinion, because it does actually break quite quickly. So we have a real cave here. Now I don't want the stone, I want the sandstone. We're just going to explore this little tunnel. I think I know where this comes out. We have a sort of balcony, as it were, on the edge of this massive outcrop of rocks here. And what a view. We can see there's a village there in the distance. That's another village. That's not our village, that's a different one. So we'll have to go and check that out in a minute as well. So we are now going to mine out some sandstone, as I need this in order to complete the building projects that I have in mind. So we have mined out a massive tunnel, and this thing kind of goes in a circle. I mined along the edge of the border where the sandstone turns into normal stone, and we've emerged back in the same cave. And yep, that's where we entered. So now I am going to go back up here, and I think I'm going to sleep real quick, and then we will check out that desert village that we could see in the distance. So we've slept, it's now daytime, and we can go to the village. Oh look, it's a baby villager. This is the first time I've actually seen a baby villager. That is so cool. He's really cute. He's the mini-me version of the other villager. I didn't see him on my first visit to this village, and there's a bit of a story there, so I'll tell you about that later on, but I'll just go and say hi to these villagers. Oh, no, nothing really interesting in the chest. One thing I am noticing about these villagers is that a lot of them don't seem to have professions. They are nitwits or professionless villagers, which means there must be a lack of crafting stations here in the village. And let's have a look in these houses. Yes, there's a chest, but no workstation. So that's a bit odd. I don't know if that's like a bug or something. I'm in 1.14, and the version that I'm now using is I believe it's the pre-release for 1.14.2, so maybe it's buggy, but I think the pre-release is meant to fix bugs. So hello. Now you're a farmer, you have a trade, and here's another farmer guy here, but as far as I can tell, none of the other villagers seem to have professions. That's a bit odd. So as you can see, we are back at home, and you can see half of the world is raining, and as we're stood in the desert, it's not raining. That's kind of weird and funny at the same time. So we have returned home with a big supply of sandstone, and we also found ourselves some emeralds in the village. So what we are now going to do is to prepare for some building. And I have a couple of projects in mind, and the first of which is to provide the sheep with somewhere a little more substantial to live. Don't you just love the sound of the stone cutter? It's so pleasing. So what I plan to do here is to give the sheep a sort of covered area under which to shelter. So I have started building this, and what I'm having to do here, it's really tricky because obviously we have so many sheep. I am building the frame of this thing outside of the existing fence because I don't want all the sheep to escape. I have rather a lot of sheep in there now because I've been breeding them, and the poor horse is stuck in the middle of all that. They're very noisy too, so I'm sorry about that. But we're going to build this fence along the outside of the existing pen. Whoops, that's the wrong place. So we're going to give them a sort of roof so that they can shelter. Not that it rains in the desert, but I still thought it would be quite cool to have a covered area for them to shelter if they want to. So as you can see here, I'm using some of the new... No! Creeper! Quick! Oh, no. That's the problem with this setup. Creepers can get too close to the pen. That is just so annoying. Oh, no, he's still there. No, retreat. I'm not having him blow up. Yeah. Okay, so that creeper disappeared. Or so I thought. As you can see, he made a return appearance. And he blew up. And I lost most of my sheep. I hate creepers. I mean, they're kind of cute and all that, but not near my building. Oh no. As you can see, a lot of my sheep have escaped, and I'm having to repair the damage. So originally that was a wall. I just stuck a fence there to keep the sheep in, or at least the sheep that were left. So thankfully I still have enough sheep left to be able to breed them again, but that's really annoying because I've bred quite a few, and a couple of the coloured ones escaped as well. So yeah, I'm going to have to re-dye the sheep if I want to get dark blue wool, or I'll just have to go and catch the ones that have just escaped and shear those. I'm not really going to go to all the trouble of trying to coax them back in again. I'm just going to breed up the ones that I have. So I've moved the sort of moat a little bit further back, so hopefully it's not quite as close now for if creepers blow up. So I'm going to give the sheep a few more hay bales, I think, as that will look quite cool. And oh, that's not quite what I expected when I placed down hay bales. Apparently the sheep like jumping on them. That's very strange. So we're going to continue our expansion and improvement works. So I've decided I don't really like the wooden overhang on my original house, and I've decided to try something different here. And I'm going to use string, and you can place carpets on top of string. Now this is a little trick I learnt from a channel called F-Whip, because I googled Desert Village and he had a really cool desert city, and he was using this trick of putting carpets on top of string. So I do suggest that if you like this technique, and if you like desert cities in general, do go and check out his channel. He has some really cool stuff on there. But it gave me the idea to do this, and if we place enough string, it's quite tricky, but it does give you a small hitbox so you can see where it goes, and we should be able to place down a row of carpets, and you can barely see the string from underneath, so it kind of gives an optical illusion. And this is looking really cool, so we're sort of creating a tarpaulin fabric type tenty thing. I'm not sure what the correct term is. Is it veranda? I'm not sure. But we're creating a sort of area here, covered area, which is fairly typical in desert towns. So I've created a striped pattern with some light blue wool there, and we'll now build up the pillars, and I've decided to use oak wood this time instead of acacia because I'm using oak wood on the new house and the acacia kind of clashes. So I really like the bark of acacia, but I'm not as keen on the actual wood colour in this setting. Ideally, I think I would use spruce here, but I don't have spruce or dark oak wood on me in quantities at the moment, so for now we'll use oak. We can always change it up later on. So now I am starting work on another project, and this is something I've been meaning to do for a while. We desperately need to give our horse somewhere to live that's not in with all the noisy sheep. I think he'll really appreciate that. So we're building him a small stable building. Now we're going to do something a little bit similar to what I did for the sheep. So here we're going to create a combo between what I did for the sheep and what I did at the back of the house. So we're going to create a stone frame, and we're going to give this a fabric roof. So I'm just going to replace the sand with some dirt there because I want a dirt floor. As you can see, I've already created the back wall, and I'm trying to use as many of the new blocks as I can, as I want to try and incorporate some of the 1.14 features here, although I'm not sure I'm going to keep the walls as pillars because they don't link up to fences very well, at least not at the sides. You can put fence on top of them, but they don't really link up that well. So I've now completed the frame of the building, and I am adding on the fabric roof, and for this one I'm using a different colour. I thought it would be fun to have yellow, so I want to try and include as many colours in this area as I can, and eventually I plan to have some market stalls around with a different colour roofs, as the desert can be quite a plain colour, so it's all sand colour, and even though I love that, I think it's fun to try and introduce colour. I'm really liking that. So what I've done here is I've added some stairs on the tops of the pillars to give some more detailing, and I have added in a path here, and what I'm trying to do is to get the grass to grow down, and as you can see we are now able to turn the grass into proper path blocks, and eventually I intend to include a network of paths around this small village that I've created. And we've been letting our wheat grow for a very long time so it's my favourite time. It's speed crop farming time. Don't you just love doing this? It's the most satisfying thing ever to just have a field of wheat and just go through it with a hoe and just collect up all the wheat. I love it. Just try not to jump on it. I keep jumping on the tilled area and turning it to dirt. We're going to have some speed crop farming and planting here, and whee! I love doing this. It's so much fun. I love it. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to tell you a quick story of something that happened earlier. So I kind of started filming this episode much earlier, and I had a bit of a nightmare. So I took my horse over to that desert village that we saw earlier, and on the return trip, it went dark. And as you know, horses are not great with rivers in Minecraft. And I tried to cross a river and my horse got stuck. So I started creating a very haphazard bridge. I had to dive under the water and put loads of blocks down to try and rescue my horse. And he got stuck, and then all of a sudden my computer started inexplicably lagging, and that was a complete nightmare. I could not control the player. It was so laggy. So I eventually gave up. It froze. I switched my computer off and I came back on, and I realised that I was in the water. Not only was I in the water and it had frozen for a long time, but a creeper had exploded and taken away a lot of my health. So I was really low health in the water, and I had no idea if I would still be alive when I logged back in. Thankfully I was. I held the jump button as soon as I logged in so I would float straight up, and I also held down my shield, and it's just as well because if I hadn't been pressing the shield button I would have been attacked by a zombie that was in the water with me. So I managed to save myself, float to the surface. I then healed up and managed to somehow rescue the stubborn horse. and get him to go onto the blocks so that he could reach the other side of the river. And then I rode home and I managed to dodge the millions of mobs that were out during the night. And this isn't where the story ends. So I got home, back to my base, and as I approached I thought, something looks a bit off here. And I got to the sheep pen to put my horse away, and I realised that half of the pen was missing, and there was only one sheep to be seen. And it was literally missing. There was one side of the wall was just gone, and also the ditch was gone. It was just flat ground. So it's as though the terrain had ungenerated part of my home area, and it was the strangest thing ever. I have never seen that happen before, and my theory is that it was something to do with a bug in 1.14.1, but it's extremely strange and rather worrying that that was able to happen. So I was thoroughly fed up at this point, as you can imagine. Like, I had managed to save myself and the horse, only to return home to find half of my base missing. So that was a brilliant day. So what I eventually did was I restored the backup of the world that I had made, and I started using the 1.14.2 pre-release instead of 1.14.1, and hopefully this should be a little bit less buggy than 1.14.1. It's not like I'd done anything like pruning chunks either, it literally just did it by itself. So this episode has taken a bit longer to make because I eventually decided that because all my progress had been lost, that I would scrap all the footage I had done for this episode and just re-record it, because I had to restore the world from the backup and I lost all of my progress. I'm nearly done planting these crops. I think the next thing we're going to do is go and relocate our horse to his new home. Oh. Hello, horse. How are you roaming around the garden? Quick, grab the saddle, put it on him. No, we're going to get attacked by zombies. This is random. I don't know how on earth the horse got out of the sheep pen. He's just wandering around the garden. So I had to go and grab the saddle real quick there because he was going to wander off and get attacked by zombies. So I think I'm going to make a small change here. I have a sneaking suspicion why this might have happened, and I think this design of pillar possibly allows the horse to climb up on the edge of that bit of block there, and I think maybe that's what he did on the sheep pen. So it doesn't look quite as nice, but bad horse. We can't have you escaping. That is no good at all. So I have changed up the design. So we're now going to breed up our sheep a bit more. As you can see, I've dyed a couple yellow there because I wanted to use yellow for the fabric colour on some of my roofs. I just love the little lambs every time I see them. They're so cute. I'm not sure why the sheep like jumping on top of the hay bales though. I've put them right in the middle, so hopefully they shouldn't escape. So next we're going to turn our attention to our house. Remember, I built the slightly larger building in the previous episode, and I decided to use it as a storage area initially, but I've been looking at it and I'm not entirely happy with how it looks. So I've got two very square stroke rectangular buildings, and I wanted to add a bit more detail. So I've decided to expand this building and change the shape a bit. So I'm going to do a slightly lower floor that wraps around the edge where the verandas are currently, because I have space for it. And then I'm going to add a sort of tower to the top, not a very high tower, just an upper floor, but one that's slightly smaller than the floor plan of the original building. All this is in aid of giving this building some more depth and interest, as at the moment it's basically a rectangular box with some sort of battlement shapes on the top, and I figured we can do better than this with the new 1.14 blocks. So I am going to give that a go here. So as usual, I am putting in the frame. And when I say a lower floor, what I mean is this building is not going to be as high as the main section of the house, because what I want to do here is create a flat roof area so that people can actually walk on the top of it. So a sort of balcony that wraps around the main building, and then the main building is going to have a slightly higher section on the top with another floor. So that should be good. So I'm getting rid of this veranda overhang thing that I did earlier, and we're going to include this section in the new building, and we're going to move the windows. Obviously the original house will no longer have windows in the same place, as I am starting the wall where the windows used to be. And we've got ourselves a small army here. Look at all these baby husks. Wow, nasty. Ow, he still got me. This isn't good. I'm poisoned. This moat is quite effective. It's very effective against zombies. It's not as effective against creepers as we saw earlier. If you let one get too close, then boom. One thing I have noticed though, creepers do actually make a noise on sand. This is one reason to have your house in the desert, because creepers do make a noise when they're walking on sand, at least in this version. So as you could see there, it's taking shape. It's still very plain at the moment, but I'm hoping to add some more details. I'm not entirely sure I like what I've done with the corners at the moment. I think we're going to do some more experimentation with the new sandstone stairs. We shall try our best to create a more interesting shape on the roof. As you can see there, I added in a stair at the top of the doorway. That's a detail I love, and I'm just working out the spacing for the placement of the new windows. Looking up at the roof there, you'll see that I've tried something different with the sandstone stairs. So I've created sort of battlements, but they are actually flatter, and they are using the stair blocks placed back to back. Although this is the same design I had before, effectively, it looks more detailed using the stair blocks, as the spacing is different and the height is also different. So on the long wall here, I'm going to use a block or a slab. Yeah, that looks better, because the spacing is wrong to have an even number of stairs, so I need a block in the middle there. And these stairs are really nice for creating the battlement effect, and somehow they just look more detailed using stairs than if you do the same thing with plain blocks. This looks nice. I'm just going to create the same pattern here, so a stair and then another one back to back and then a slab in the middle. Great, that looks good. Nice view from up here too. We can survey our surrounding terrain nicely from up here. So I'm just going to add a couple of slabs and see how that looks. And I'm also planning, as I said previously, to build a tower on top of the highest part of the building, as I think it would be nice to have an even higher vantage point, and it will also add an extra level of detail to the building. So I'm starting this, and I'm going to build it in the middle, and I'm going to allow a block width around the edge, because I think it would be nice to have a walkway around the edge of this thing. So we're going to build it up and see how it looks. So I'm just trying to add a bit of detail to the roof here, so I have enough space on the long edges to use the stairs, and from this side I am going to not use stairs because there isn't enough space, but I think I'm going to put a slab. Yeah, that kind of looks good. So we can see what it looks like from up here. I'm now going to jump down. Oh, break all my bones and land on that veranda. Oh, I kind of like it from that angle, but hold on, let's look at it from this direction. This is kind of the front of the building, as it were. I'm not sure if I like that, to be honest. I think it's a bit small. You can't really see it that well from that edge. So, as you see here, I tore that down and I decided to rebuild it. This time I'm not allowing a walkway around it. I kind of felt like the one with the block width around the edge just looked like it was stuck on, if that makes sense. It was kind of weird. It just didn't look substantial enough to balance the rest of the building, so I'm making it a bit larger and we will see how this compares. So I'm just adding all the blocks, and of course making it this much bigger, it means that we can add some more detail up here because it's that much bigger, so we can give it a more detailed top. And I always fall down. I need to use dirt to go back up. I know, I'm still using dirt as scaffolding. I haven't found a jungle yet in this world, so I'm still using good old dirt. So adding in some more detail here for the windows. I love these windows. They're tiny windows, and desert houses tend to have small windows. So I'm going to put a ladder so that we can reach the ceiling once it's in, and I'm going to add some slabs to create a roof here, and then we should be able to go up on the roof and survey our lands from an even better vantage point. This is a nice view from up here. So once again, I'm going to put slabs on the corners and a slab in the middle. Oh, I don't like that. It makes it full block. Not as keen on that. So let's see. Have I got a slab of that material? Let's just see. There it. Yeah, I'm going to have plain sandstone. I think that looks better. Because I don't really want the block detail in the middle. It looks different. It kind of breaks the pattern. I think that looks nicer. So in a moment we'll hop down and see what this looks like from the ground. I'd definitely like the view from up here. There are some more pillagers over there though. Need to be careful not to engage them. I don't really want to trigger another raid, as I think I've lost a number of villagers already in the last raid that I did, so we don't want to deplete our village anymore. And I don't have diamond armor yet. Yeah, now that looks better, I think. It's better balanced. I'm still not entirely sure if I like the view from the front, but we can always tweak with it later on. I definitely think that's added some more interest and balance to the building. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to pillar up here and see how it looks from higher up, although we don't normally see it from that angle. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. So next I'm just going to do some finishing touches, and these include adding torches because we don't want anything nasty spawning on our roof. I've had enough today of creepers blowing up my work, so let's light this place up so that we don't get any problems with creepers. And we're also going to add in some windows to this building as well. It's quite nice to see it from this angle. I have to think what I'm going to put on this roof. Maybe a sun lounger or two. That'll be funny. No, I'm not going to do that. So next I have decided to add in another fabric roofed area on the side of the building, as I think that could add a splash of colour and a bit more detail to the side once again. And you often see fabric covered areas over the side of buildings like this, so I'm going to do that. It kind of shades the windows from the sun, and maybe we can put a few workstations under it or something. I'm trying to create the stripes. There we go. I think I prefer the wooden version of it, but I'm going to stick with this for now and see how I feel about it. Maybe go off and come back. We can always change things up. That's the beauty of this. We're going to keep adding to this area. I do kind of like that. So let's have a look at it from this angle. Good to see it from further away. This is how the area looks when we approach. I'm liking the stable and the details I put on the pillars. I used stairs for that. So that's going to be it for this episode. We've done quite a lot today. We've given our sheep somewhere to sleep, we have given our horse a new stable, and we've expanded this house. If you have enjoyed, please do consider liking and subscribing, and if you do subscribe, please do hit the notification bell so that you're notified when I upload future episodes. This is Agent XP. Thank you for watching. TTFN.